Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hops Geek News. I am your host, Matt. Alongside me is Lauren, and today we are going to be talking with our old friend, Kenny, who is here to talk about a bombastic, fantastic new comic book app coming this summer, where I know sometimes it can be hard to get to your local comic book shops. Not only do they have a really cool link and website to help you find a local comic book shop, but there is some stuff coming down the pipe where you can be able to read it straight from your phone, iPad, tablet, whatever you have out there. And so we're going to chat with him in just a second, but please make sure you go ahead, like, subscribe, share, follow, all of that good stuff. Hops Geek News on all social media platforms, all podcasting platforms. Drop a review, help us grow. The algorithm gods bless us, will you? But that's all I got. So let's talk a little bit. Lauren, hi down there. What's up? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? I'm sipping
I'm
on some
swell.
H to the Izzo, H to the
Yeah,
oxygen.
I
Cheers.
didn't grab anything either. Typically, we do a beer of the week, but I got nothing right now because
I
I
thought about
also
that.
had water. And then Kenny's gonna go crush beers at a softball practice. So,
Got a
welcome,
beer on
strange
deck.
man who wandered in here. How are you doing? Long time no talk. What's
Strange
been
man
new?
who
It
wandered in here.
is lovely to be here with you two again. It's where I feel most comfortable. Where I feel most comfortable.
Dude,
So,
you flatter. You flatter. I know we
yeah.
had, back and forth. This has been like over a month, probably 2 months now in the making because we are adults and, adults have lives sometimes. Some
Too
Lauren
many
probably, you know,
responsibilities.
and responsibilities and vacations. And we live on opposite coasts. So it's been
Oh,
in the
time
works
zones.
and really, really fun to get here. And it's been great to get to see you and chat with you again because, we got to chat, like a couple of years ago now was when we first got to chat. And
Little
I know a lot
different
of,
circumstances.
yeah, a lot has changed, man.
A
So,
lot has changed.
what's been new? Fill us in as to everything that is going on with you lately.
Well, I appreciate you having me on because first I am a fan, which is why we got in touch. I just wanted to reconnect with you two.
Ooh,
But
gosh.
yeah, so I've started a comic book company called Sweet. Comic book company is not the correct way to put it. A sort of a product house. I don't really have a really good way to encapsulate
You're
it,
like an
except that,
online comic book shop, you know?
well, there's a couple pieces because Sweet has three products technically, one of which is a digital comic store. But the goal is to make things less. Can I swear on here? I forget if I
Of
can swear
course.
on here. To make things less shitty for comic folk is kind of our motto. Like, it's just to take things I've learned from being in tech and things I've learned from my time at a previous digital comic store, hopefully making things a little easier for comic people across the board, including readers, publishers, creators. It's obnoxious. It's a lot of stuff. Um, and it's super fun. And yeah, so I've been doing a lot of things. So which thing can we talk about is really up to you.
Well, let's dive into your Sweet. First of all, how did you get where did you guys come up with the name? Because it is unique, especially for a comic shop, but it is pretty sweet, especially as we are feasting on so many good comic book runs out there right now
Mhm.
across all of the companies.
Yeah, it's like the worst time for me to have for them to have good runs because the single and having built a digital comic store, the single biggest piece of time where I'm not reading comics is when like this part of building a store. So I'm in the ramp up. Uh, the store is launching in late summer. I want to cover that. I want to make sure that's covered. That it says late summer, so I can have coverage because it is software. It's tricky, and
Yeah.
that will be um, yeah. And so Sweet actually stemmed from I knew I wanted to build more than one product, and it's going to sound really romantic, but I had the domain registered for something completely different, and I was just like, "This works," and it's a pun because it's a suite of software.
Oh,
So, so
Ah.
that's where it comes from. Ah, yes, as everyone chokes to death on the sacchariness of the pun. Um, uh, yeah, and so our first product was bindings, which is about like creator marketing, all the stuff that you receive as podcasters, like preview copies of things. Here's
Mhm.
where you find
Oh,
me, here's all my
okay.
stuff. And so bindings is really about like sort of, I call it fancy comic link tree. It's like you can preview books and create share links with people. And that was the first
Oh.
one up. And then what you're talking about, we launched the Find Your Comic store, which is findyourcomic.store, which is to replace the Diamond Comic Shop locator,
ah,
which
yes.
I, you know, a lot of people are like, well, we have Google Maps. And I'm like, yes, we do have Google Maps and it does a great job. But everywhere I see that fucking comic shop locator link posted, and I'm a software engineer and a product person, and I wanted to create something a little more usable for people and a little nicer for retailers.
Yeah, it's more, centric to what you're specifically looking for, because sometimes it's just a pain in the ass, because I've gone into Google Maps and there has been stores that have been closed for a long time that are still on Google Maps. And so it's not always the most accurate. And one of the things that I really appreciate about, because that's what we've used, is, if you happen to type in, hey, this is my store, and for some reason it's not there anymore, the hours have adjusted, people can just reach out right to you guys and you update it just like that. Whereas Google, you have to, who knows when. It's really at the mercy of the Google gods at that point.
The Google gods.
We built a whole reporting system for like handling people adding new stores, and because we don't have Google money. Like we
You're
can't
not driving around in a
we'd have a whole team of one of the biggest companies in history ever. But yeah. How are you two doing? How are things going here? You're part of, like, since we last left, you're part of the Nerd Initiative, right?
We are.
I think that was happening about that time, because I think I'd just come back from my birthday trip, and so we were literally just joining. I only remember that because I remember the glass I used, and I had gotten the glass on my birthday trip, and I was excited to use it for the first time.
It was your 40th birthday adventure.
It was my 40th
and everything.
Birthday. Yeah.
We have been
We've all been there. We've all been to our 40th birthday.
Matt hasn't, not yet.
Right.
We've all been to our 40th birthday.
We've all. When I wake up in the morning and it takes me I got compared to an old diesel engine today where it takes me time to warm up. And I was like, yep, that's about right. Cause I wake up and I don't actually wake up probably for about 4 or 5 hours. So I gotta get warmed up there.
Oh, I've been like that since I was 13 years old.
Yeah. But there's about 6 hours of the day where you can catch me at a good time. And then I'm mostly wanting to just sleep. So between the hours of 10 a.m. and maybe 4 p.m. is a really good time for me. And then other than that, it's about bedtime for this guy.
And we are recording at 8 o'clock. So this is going to be great content right here.
He's just been so cranky. And I'm just I'm trying to pitch some things here. And he was just sending me like rude messages on Discord. It was really
get it together,
it's
man.
Funny because I got home today and fell right asleep on my back deck on our nice patio furniture even. So that's the life of me. That's what you're missing out.
Where do you live? Do you live in like Florida? Like
I'm in Virginia now.
Virginia, okay.
It hasn't been sweltering humid, and it's been nice. And so we set up a nice patio, and it's been really an outdoorsman because I'm no longer in Idaho been here almost 2 years now, and it's been nice. Yeah, the last time I think we talked, I was in Idaho, but now I've been out in Virginia, right near Richmond. So I'm around civilization once more.
That's great. So many changes. We've all just grown up so much.
Look
all
at
of
us.
Are 40. What a great
40,
thing. At least 40.
Or feel 40.
Yeah.
We're all doing wonderful things.
Yeah.
It's
you two are growing. You're cleaning up on Threads. You're part of the Nerd Initiative.
Threads. That's all mad.
Wonderful.
That's right.
I know you guys were talking about that when I was having mic issues. I don't get Threads at all. It's like I had a hard time understanding Twitter, and now Threads is even more difficult. So I don't get any of it.
Yeah, I don't. Threads I have trouble with.
As I got you. I just go out there and.
And now you can post to different threads, like Star Wars threads or
That's what I'm saying. You got to use the topics, and it really reaches a broad spectrum.
And then how come when I use a hashtag, then it vanishes?
Don't use hashtags. Don't even use hashtags on threads. You just add the topic. That's what you want to do now. Okay. Don't even use a hashtag. Because you can only use one hashtag on threads. Yes, we came here to talk comics, but this is a class.
Marketing is let's do it. Let's go. Let's just talk marketing. Enough,
yes, I am since we've last talked, actually, I am almost done with my master's in marketing. So I've learned a couple things as well. And yes, pretty much you don't want to use hashtags on threads because hashtags don't go anywhere. You want to use the topics and also keywords. So if you just say, hey, algorithm, take me to comic book fans, Marvel fans, DC, Star Wars, it will do a very good job of finding those kind of people. Or if you want to find somebody in a specific city, like say hey, RVA, Richmond, Virginia, you will pop up on a lot of local Virginia, Seattle, whatever that specific market you're looking for. You will actually pop up if you use those words. It's actually really well done as far as that goes. Now, there are some drawbacks, of course, but I will say it feels like the very first days of Twitter where you would just hang out and have meaningful conversations. Now, there are some shitheads on there, but everybody's kind of learned to just block. we've learned to block the shitheads and move on. And people are just having meaningful conversations. You know, I've had a lot of really cool conversations about Andor lately, or Sinners was a big movie that's been out. And so we've talked about that, and that's been big on there. Whereas Blue Sky, it's harder to get seen and have those conversations, whereas a lot of people moved from Twitter to Blue Sky, and Blue Sky feels very corporate. Twitter is just a dead landscape of hell where you just, oh God, it's just, it feels like a very post-apocalyptic world over on Twitter.
I log in once a month and all my notifications are for Elon Musk and Trump, and I don't follow either one of them.
It's all awful media on there, so don't even bother.
So I'm actually on your Find Your Comic Store app right now, and I'm actually shocked at how many comic book shops I have in my area. I didn't even realize that. But
so I should be really, really cautious about this, because I want to caveat this. Our data is open source. We are constantly editing it. So some of those shops may be closed. People have like spot checked areas, and we're going through. So I would consider it. It doesn't have a beta tag, but it does have like beta data. So if you see something that's like, I don't even know what this is, and then you can actually report it to us. And that's what Matt was talking about, where I can be like, well, then we'll remove it from there completely. So we've had people like go through and like mow through entire like St. Louis and just like do a whole audit on it and add new stops and stuff. It is really, I mean, when anyone uses anything, like, you know, like it's when you encounter fans of your show, like it's really lovely, and
they exist.
And I just, each report, even that it is like something that like, I wish we had better data, obviously. But there's like cost reasons why we can't. Google's map API stuff is super expensive, and it just doesn't, like, the dollars don't work out for, it's kind of in our marketing budget, so to speak. And so we have a ton of reports, and it's really lovely when people spend the time to do that. You know, I'd love to, like, in the future when we have that capability, just be like, here's free comics from the Sweet Shop or something. So
that'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, the people spending time doing stuff that benefits, you know, it benefits everyone, but it benefits me and the company and Sweet. Obviously, I feel like that should be rewarded. So
yeah, I mean, it's that twofold, right? I mean, yeah, it benefits you, but also look at all of the people out there that may not know where to get comics in the Midwest, for example. That could be sparse. It could be a little harder to find if you're not in a city, and so they're able to find that, and it kind of works twofold. They maybe find their perfect shop for them, the perfect thing for them, and then it's one of those things that it also then helps comic book creators. And so it's that's just the world now. I mean, everybody's helping each other in that roundabout way, as it kind of should be. It's
well, and I see too, like, I see my local shop right here, and it says you can claim this listing. So it's like, should we let our local comic book shops, like, no, like, hey, claim this listing that can help you, and so will that then take them directly to that website, or how does that work?
So what that does is they claim their listing and they register with what we call Retailer Connect. It's Sweet's, like, because we have plans to connect them to things like affiliate programs for the Sweet Shop and to other plans for like the marketing tool. They're all kind of loosely interconnected. So they'd register for the shop, and then they can do like upload photos of their logo. Like, there are some really nicely built out stores that they can put like events, you can put the hours, they can put different pieces, and we keep adding things that are interesting or relevant to comics. Like some publishers have gotten in touch about, you know, like smaller publishers about like the shops that feature their stuff, and like noting that in the app. And that's the kind of thing we can do, because we're not really we're just tied to comic fans, like, and
right. It's like you have
like, we're not a part of a like retailer organization or anything like that, or, you know, so we can be like, yeah, sure, that's great, let's do that. So hopefully that evolves. It's still sort of, but the data is my albatross around my neck. But I'm working on it, and it's been really great. I mean, it's been really lovely.
Right. But the more people who use it, then the more the whole community will grow for everyone. Because, my comic book shop does events all the time. And, you know, that's obviously New Comic Book Day. Obviously, a lot of people saw that. But we're seeing, I feel like, maybe because I'm still feel like I'm newer to actually going to the comic book shop every week, even though I've been doing it for over 10 years, is more signings. I feel like we see a lot of signings of
I
people.
don't feel like you get to say you're newer after you've been doing it for 10
I've been doing it for 10 years, so I'm still new.
It's like with Star Wars too. I still feel like I'm a newbie because whenever we have, when you came on our show for the first time, we started with an origin story. So whenever I hear people's origin stories, I'm like, well, mine started with Hugh Jackman in X-Men when I saw the movie my senior year of high school. So it's like everybody else is like, I don't remember a time when I wasn't reading comics.
I feel like 10 years is definitely the mark where you get to be like, no, I'm pretty good at this.
Yeah, especially in the modern day. I mean, the MCU and all of them have really opened up
I've been
the worlds
MCU
of comics.
So
there's a lot of people out there now that are getting into the comics for sure. And I feel like you really can kind of say that.
But a lot of people are like, I'm coming back to comics after being gone for 20 years.
This is actually an intervention, too. Lauren. We're here to tell you it's time to drop that pretense. It's time to fucking drop that.
This is when you just own your truth. Listen, you try as you might, and she goes to her fancy lawyer parties, and they all make fun of her, and she tries to hide it. Just know that you are one of us.
Yes, my high school friends are still like, I don't know, you read comic books? Like, I still get that a lot. I get that from a lot of my girlfriends.
It's a weird. It's a cultural thing that's gotten. I don't know. You guys know this.
I will say it's awesome because it connects me to the younger generation at work. Like they come to me and their first things in the morning. It's not work related. It's awesome because it connects me to this. Like 20-year-olds, they come in like, hey, did you see Thunderbolts this weekend? I'm like, yeah. And they go
to 20-year-olds. So my daughter and her friends. Yeah.
Yes. Well, what I'm saying, because I'm in the line of work I'm currently in, it's, there's big age gaps and things like that. And a lot of people come to start working at 18 there.
Right. It's
they may be discovering this, or they haven't had that place to talk nerd stuff, especially in, our career field where it's predominantly toxic masculinity. And so they get that chance to come into my office. They see all my nerd stuff on the wall because I make it very inviting. Like, hey, I don't put up work related things. It's all comic book crap on my walls. And so we just have these conversations about what comics I'm reading, what I thought about the current movies out there. And it kind of makes you feel like a comic book shop. And that's the whole point about comics is they get people talking, which with this, your app that's getting ready to come out later this summer, kind of it's going to open that hopefully a lot more to a bigger audience as well, because maybe some people are afraid to go to comic shops. They don't know where to start. So this is going to be a good gateway for them to just pick something and go. Cause you guys have a lot of things such as your in-app purchases, your offline readings, it's worldwide day and date releases, all ages. You got backups. There's a lot of cool stuff going on, and Image Comics is the first ones to sign on to have their comics come straight to the app. Which is a
huge one. I would say they're my favorite.
They're doing good stuff.
Walking Dead, Minor Threats.
I'm not going to pretend like
Ghost Machine, Minor Threats is Dark Horse.
Yes.
Don't listen to me. Sorry, I'm new to comics. I get them confused.
Yeah, I just got here. I went to my first comic store in the 90s, so I'm brand new.
The 90s.
I'm brand new. You just read the bullet points straight off the promotional material, Matt. Good job.
I like to, because
why do I even have to talk? Just
the website's really inviting, man. I love looking at the website because as soon as you go to sweetshop.app, it's very vibrant and pink, and it has the comics and images right there. And then, of course, you talk about the features and things, which I think is very important for people to see because it's one of those, why should I come to yours? And you have a lot of good options there. Like, what went into designing these things?
Well, that particular site was designed by Tom Carmody, who's a very talented designer. And a lot of it comes from obviously the sweet name is like lends itself to very bright, cheery things. But ultimately, a lot of comic apps are like very dark and very gray, and there's a reason for it. I mean, the contrast of like those beautiful imagery of comic book covers, like you want to get out of the way of those. But I think there's a real energy this time that we're just trying to, like, I don't know, be brighter, be fluffier, be more tongue-in-cheek. I'm just trying to make a comic store that is joyful and inviting, and it's a challenge to itself, but I just work with great designers. That's always been my thing. It has very little to do with me, and so that's all credit to Tom Carmody and Ben Carr, who worked with me on the site. And Ben Carr's a partner in Suite. So there's three of us. So I am the big dumb face.
No, I love that too because the way you're saying it's and more inviting. Because we just made the joke like I feel like I'm new to comics, but I didn't go to a comic book shop until 2011, and it was right before the Thor movie because I wanted a Thor T-shirt. And I remember walking into this comic shop, and I just left work, so I was in heels and a suit and everything. And I swear to God, everybody stopped and stared at me, and I felt so awkward. And there's like guys at tables like playing games. I ended up leaving and going to Hot Topic and getting a Thor shirt there, but. Because at that point, the comics I was reading, I was getting at Barnes & Noble or the library. And it wasn't until I started to catch up on Walking Dead with the show that I was like, I need to find a shop. And a friend of mine had taken her son to Epic Comics, East Orlando. Awesome shop. Love the owners. Love everybody there. They're all amazing. That I then all of a sudden was going every week. And now they put comics in my box that I don't even ask them to, that I wanted. I was like, oh, I'm going to grab the new Kitty Pryde and Wolverine. I didn't ask them to put that in my box, but you know what was in my box the other day? Kitty Pryde and Wolverine.
I mean, comic stores, they're such a reflection of their owner, right? Like, and the times that they're in. Like, there's so many amazing comics shops now that are just way more like, I mean, I definitely grew up in the 90s boy, like everything has 70 pouches, everything's uber masculine, and the stores reflected that too, like because those are the sort of people it attracted in the West. I mean, in Southeast Asia, it's just a part of their culture completely. Like they don't even like differentiate like it's this or that. Manga is a part of how they live and breathe, and I don't know, I love that about comic stores. That's something I can never do, to the fact that, I mean, my store will be a reflection of us as people too, but
it's just more inviting, I feel like, to everybody. Like it's not intimidating, more so, I guess, is what it was, because it doesn't matter who you are, where you're coming from. If you don't feel like you fit into a niche, you can feel like you're not part of this and you're just going to take a step back and not go back. And what I also think is great is like having those local comic shops, but if the comic shop is connected to the app, because I've had times where my comic shop is like, oh, we don't have that. Do you want us to order it for you? It's going to take a while. Or, hey, go to this website and download this now and you can read it tonight if you want to read this Daredevil run before Born Again comes out, kind of thing. Because we all do that. We're all bandwagon fans with these shows and movies with the comics.
I don't Fantastic Four, for example, is one that I've been I've just never read Fantastic Four. It's never drawn to me. I know it's
only read the crossovers with X-Men.
Yeah, I was down at my brother-in-law's shop this past weekend, Sailfish, and something their shop has that I think is really cool and inviting is everything's organized. But when you go to the wall with the new comic books, they have the previous issues. That way you can catch up if you've missed last month's, or they kind of just, they make it easier for you to get involved. Or, hey, I've never read X, Y, and Z. Well, hey, there's a section just for that. What's new right now. You can pick up right here. This is what's hot. This is where you can start. This is our recommended right here. You missed last month's issue. Don't worry. We're on issue 2. So you can, and then they would have issue 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah in order right there. So you can pick those up if you wanted to catch up. And I think that's clever, and you're right, the reflection of the owners, and so it's a very inviting shop, I think, and that's what Sweet, the app, even makes me think of, just that inviting. And comics are fun right now. There's so much out there, and it is a very much a reflection of you guys as well. You easily say, because Kenny, you're such a great personality at the same time, as we always like to joke and go back and forth and banter, and I would definitely say this app is a reflection of that.
I don't know how to take that, so I'm just going to move on
just
from
blush
it.
And say, thanks.
You don't know me well enough, is what I think when you say that. I mean, yeah, I think that the comic ecosystem, like I don't know if you see this, but my kids are reading comics. Like
my kids are too.
Like primarily consuming comics in graphic novel format from things like Dav Pilkey. My daughter reads, The Babysitter's Club, a very famous novel series, as a graphic novel, beautifully done.
Yeah.
Like, these are beautifully done versions of these books. The illustration, I forget who some of them are. I think maybe Amy Cho is one of them. I know
my daughter has them too, but they didn't have those when I was little. I had to read the actual book, so it was
we
a
had
great
to read
gateway.
Words like monsters.
But it was a great way for like my middle kid was not quick on that. So doing the graphic novels, Babysitter's Club was one of them, and there's another one that was like a series with like one of them was called Guts and all these other things that just had the emojis on the cover.
Same.
But yeah, those were fantastic, and I was excited.
Well,
I mean, come on, man, I loved
I
Babysitter's Club
think,
growing up. I think it's
comics
fantastic.
are such a good gateway for kids because Oliver, my oldest, he's 9.5. He started by reading comics, and him and his friends would come over, and all my comic books that I have, they would just go through them and go through them. And now he's reading the Percy Jackson novels, which I love because I love those novels. And he got to watch the first episode of it. So it's really opened up this whole world of reading is fun. And when you're trying to teach, especially kids, that reading can be fun, you're not just reading pointless words on a book with no pictures. As barbaric and simple minded as it may seem, comics really have a lot of heaviness to them. And then you also add these fun, awesome artistic visions to the words. It helps their imagination too, I feel.
I mean, I I think the greatest chance we have to get out of the cultural like weird bucket of comics in the West being like this very male dominated thing
Is people like
is
Lauren who just got into comics.
it just like fresh into comics,
Brand
Lauren, as we
new.
call her, back at the shop.
Logan, yeah.
And
That's
like
kryptonite.
like my daughter's generation, like they're just very it's just a part of like it's a part of who they are, like what they read. It's not like I read this thing, like this genre, and I think that's amazing. And all I want to do at Sweet is like connect these, like to bridge these things. Nothing is original that we're doing. We're just trying to bridge things that don't have bridges to make it easier. Like when we say all ages, which we probably won't be at launch because there's a lot of stuff that needs to be that to make that happen, parental controls, pieces like that. Things get prioritized as you move along. But like
right. Digital stuff,
idea,
it takes time.
the idea of being able to go from Dogman all the way up to Saga, like throughout your life is crucial. And then finding community in comics is lovely. And I don't know. I
Well,
just am
you're
trying
doing
to bridge
something
gaps like that.
that
Well,
I
I think
do
you said
think
it
is
best
unique.
before.
Sorry, go ahead,
Making it
Lauren.
less shitty. No, I just liked what you said before. You're just making it all less
Right.
shitty.
And then what you're doing too is you've talked about, making it so you're adding previews, like giving previews, and then where can you find these specific creators and things like that. That's something that especially for a digital reading space is pretty unique because not a whole lot of them do that. Or if they do, they don't make it easy to find. So I think offering those things is a good gateway to get in because most of the time, the first couple of pages, that if you're going to like this book or not. And I think that's a smart idea.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I
Invincible
think
took me a few issues.
Yeah, Invincible does take a few issues, but it's very good once you get into it.
Oh, it's so worth it once you get into it.
I know that's the hottest take. Invincible is a very good comic. I'm coming in with the hot takes.
Oh,
here.
you want a hot take? I have not been able to get into Invincible because I just have not felt connected to it.
I feel like they ruined the show from the get-go by revealing the big reveal too soon. Whereas because it took a whole trade back to like get to that, it made it like a slow burn, and the slow burns that pay off are the best kind of burns.
I haven't seen the show. I can't bring myself to watch it. I just really like the comic.
My issue with the show is it looks so much like the comic that I sometimes forget what happened in the comic versus the show. I also loved the comic so much I read it so fast, and when you read it so fast, you don't remember it as well.
True.
But
that's the beauty. You can go back and read it. I
derailed us. Yeah, but it's 3 freaking phone books.
It is. They're right. Yeah. They're right there. If you look.
Oh, I see them. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's blurry. I can tell.
Like right there. It's blurred, but those are them. But yeah, no, I think that was I think that came along, although it came along earlier, like when sort of the image renaissance started happening with Saga, with Wiccan Divine. Like I think that, obviously The Walking Dead and Invincible were like the fuel for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right,
and then that exploded. Too. And that's kind of when I came back into comics, I think, as we talked about before. It's just like, it was a really cool time. And so they have a special place in my cold, dead heart.
Well, fair. Now, I know that you've been, obviously wicked busy with everything, but is there any books out or any runs out currently that you either are excited to get into or you have found time to get into recently?
I am reading FML and the Power Fantasy. I try to keep up on those. I've
heard those are very good.
They
FML is good. I've read some of that. Yes. Power Fantasy, I've heard really good things about.
I mean, just like peak, like artists and writer operating at like the top of their game. It's really
Mm-hmm.
lovely. And but honestly, like I said, like this time when we're in the build, like building all the machinery behind a comic book store, a digital comic book store, I read so little. I do very little. And like I stare at so many comics. It's embarrassing because I have access to probably the most comics people on this planet will have access to, but I can only spend like 3 seconds with them because I'm like, let's see if it swipes. Let's see if it swipes.
Well, you
Okay.
gotta, yeah, you're in the testing, so
Yeah.
it's you don't have the time to find out and go through it and read and take your time. You're like, no, we're on a timeline here. I mean, you're
It's like an
working.
embarrassment of riches. Like I'm one of the Succession kids, just like, oh, whatever. Like I'm
First
just
world
trying to figure out
problems.
my own thing. Yeah. But it's I try to keep up on those two. I do like Ultimate Universe quite a bit.
Oh yeah,
Um and it's really like what'll happen is I'll just like go on a comic run. Like I'll just launch into like one night I'm just like I can't work on anything anymore, and then I'll just binge a bunch of stuff, which is lovely.
yeah,
So yeah, Power Fantasy I love, FML I love, and I just love a good alternate universe
yeah,
Marvel thing.
dude.
That's like crack cocaine to me. I loved it. Started
That's
with Age of Apocalypse, and they've been drip lining me every few years. So
that's pretty much how I've been with the Absolute Universe, which as we've just lost Lauren, but it's okay because I know you got
yeah.
softball here soon. Anyways, she texted me saying she's dead. So
Oh
R.I.P. in
no.
peace, Lauren. We
Just when
share her
she got
internet disappeared.
seniority in the
I
comic
know.
community,
She just
that's how they
finally,
get you.
they brought in like, nope, nope. There are only so
I've
many
always
girls in this
said the
time. Sorry.
comics community needs less women. That's its
I
biggest
know.
problem.
Now that
Yeah.
she's gone, we can really talk about what we were here to talk about.
Yeah.
But the Absolute Universe is one of those alternate takes that I've really enjoyed. That I think people, once they get the time to, Absolute Batman out there is amazing. I'll sing its praises till I die.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff, but it was a joy getting to hang out with you again. I hopefully we'll have to just hang out here soon, not record just bullshit, because it is great getting to just chop it up and hang out. And I forgot how much fun it was. So I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come kick it with us for a little bit.
I love talking to you too, and I could do it. We don't have to talk. We don't have to talk about all the crap I'm working on. We can just talk
No,
about
we can just
comics.
talk about comics here. We'll
Yeah.
schedule it here, soon and talk about comics. We'll do that. But in the meantime, why don't you tell people where it is that they can find you so they can at least come and see all the good stuff that you're doing.
Best place to find all the stuff I'm doing is at sweet.dev. That's the
Oh
website.
yeah.
https://sweet.dev, and you can
It's
see
all
all
in
the
the show
different
notes
pieces.
too, folks. Don't worry. We
Yeah.
got you. If you're like me and you're like, what's a backslash? It's in the notes. I got you.
You'd
Kenny, though,
recognize it from all the internet you've been doing.
you do, yes. I do appreciate you hanging out, man. We'll talk comic books soon. And everybody else, go check out, read some comic books, man. Comics, we're in a good time of comic books. It's unfortunate Lauren's not here to share the wealth of that. So it's okay. It'll be fine. We'll get her next time. Everybody else out there, we'll talk to you soon. In peace.